Welcome to the Sweat Room, and today I want to talk about remasters, reboots, remakes, whatever you want to call them, when you get an old game and you kind of make it again or you rehash it. How badly do you actually want these remakes and reboots? Well, clearly, if the market has anything to say about it, the answer is probably yes. We keep buying them, we keep pre-ordering them, we want them. And recently I discussed Metal Gear Solid Delta and my thoughts on how I felt about the series as a whole and how it kind of feels like the last game for me. Personally, if they were to remake all the other Metal Gear games, I don't think I really care. I don't want to revisit those games. Like, if I want to play them again, I will play the old ones. I don't think I'll really care about a remake of Metal Gear Solid 1, a remake of Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 3, it's like the catalyst. It looks cool. I want to try it out. But if they were to just remaster the whole collection, I don't think I'd really care. And that's how I feel about a lot of remakes. I'm going to call it a remake because it's been made in the Unreal Engine. It has been remade. There's only a select few remasters or remakes that I actually do play. One of them was Diablo 2. I did like that, I won't lie. And that's because, yes, it was that nostalgia. Nostalgia is one of the biggest reasons why we want to buy these games. But a lot of people say that the reason why they want them is so the younger generation can experience those games. And I understand what you're saying. Because when I show my nephew certain games, or you might have tried to show a child a game, they might say, that looks so old. The graphics look terrible. And they write the game off immediately. So I get where you're coming from when it comes to graphics. It can be a real big turn off. And even now, as a 32-year-old, I go back to some games. I tried playing a bit of Metal Gear Solid 3 lately, and the control scheme does take a little bit of getting used to because it feels so different compared to how we play modern games today. But a lot of remakes and reboots, remasters, whatever, I don't play them. I remember one reboot, there was the Devil May Cry reboot. And let's just say, I'm going to define these myself. The reboot is when you take an old franchise, let's say Devil May Cry, because we just mentioned that, and you make a new game in that series. And then oftentimes it will just be called Devil May Cry. Just the name of the game being like, we're starting again, and you're going to want this. But for me, I didn't want to get involved with that. I watched some videos on it and I thought, do I care about this game? Not really. But for me, I have no nostalgia over Devil May Cry. I think I played number 4 briefly, so got no connection to that series. Like I said, I did play Diablo 2 and I did end up buying it. But the thing with that game is, you got Diablo 3, Diablo 4's come out. I don't even bother playing Diablo 4. So there's the debate, are these old games actually better? And in the case of Diablo, I would tend to agree. I just got really bored of Diablo 4. Yes, technically, Diablo 4, better graphics. Better, talent tree. That's very subjective. The talent tree was all big. But graphics-wise, it does look better. But I don't really care about that. It's the gameplay at the end of the day. And a lot of people are excited for Metal Gear Solid and the remake of that. And I was excited. But then as it's got closer to release, I've realised I don't actually really care that much. After playing a little bit of the PS2 version, I'm just like, do I really care about playing through this again? I played through it so many times when it was current gen. Do I care about playing through it again now? Or is it just some big talking point in my mind? I think about it and I think, wow, wasn't it so great back then? We got this rosy retrospection. I look back and think it was better than it really was. And yes, it is a great game. I'll always remember the characters from that, like the Fear, the End. They're some of my favourite characters, the Fear in particular, Snake. I love it all. But do I really care about playing through it again? A lot of the remasters that I've bought over the years, like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, I've hardly played them because I bought them because I thought, I'll probably enjoy this. And then, turns out, I really just don't care. Like, the idea of buying it seemed better than actually playing it. And I have not even got enough hours on those games on Steam to justify the amount of money that I spent on it. And that's how it goes for a lot of things for me. Unless the game's very captivating, I just don't play it enough. And those games captivated me in the past, but not enough to captivate me today. It was just the idea of it. And yes, I got excited. And I thought Crash Team Racing, the remake of that, but I never had a PlayStation. What was it come out on? PlayStation 4? I didn't have that console, and I wasn't going to buy one just to play it. So that game completely passed me by. And do I care? Not really. One of the biggest ones that came out recently was Oblivion. A total remake of Oblivion. And you see videos of it, and it does look fantastic. But do I care to play it? Honestly, no. I had a great time playing through Oblivion, and I played through Skyrim. That's had endless remakes, or it's just been re-released many times, but I just couldn't bring myself to care enough to get Oblivion. I just don't care anymore. Maybe that's just a sign of getting older. I just don't care. To me, it doesn't really matter. Yes, it looks great, and I'm sure a lot of you wanted to relive that experience, but if I want to relive it, I'll probably just buy the original on Steam because it's so much cheaper. And a lot of it actually comes down to price. As a poor person still pretty poor, to be honest, as a poor person for my life, the idea of buying a console just to play a game seems insane. Like when I heard I had a PS2, I was playing Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, and then I was like, I really want to play Metal Gear Solid 4. It's only coming out on the PS3. Well, I guess I will never play it. That's how I resigned myself to it, because I thought, I'm never going to buy a PS3. I can't even afford to get myself a console. The only reason I had a PS2 is because I was gifted it. It's like the family console. The only reason I ended up with an Xbox 360 is because it was my friend's and he had two and let me use it. I did see some people say, I released a video about when consoles defined who you were, and it would define who you played with. Because if you had Xbox, you played Halo, you had friends who played Halo, they would probably be on Xbox, well, they had to be to play Halo. So you'd meet up and that's who your friend group were. If you had a PlayStation, you were playing whatever was on PlayStation, Demon's Souls or whatever. I don't know, I didn't have a PlayStation. Metal Gear Solid 4. But I couldn't afford to buy other consoles. Just like if my friend wanted to play X game, I couldn't just go out and buy the console. I couldn't even afford the console that I had. And I had one person comment, and he said something along the lines of, I think you're making this out to be too big of a deal. What about people like me who have every console? And I thought to myself, while I understand that you as a person who had all these consoles, you didn't feel like you had this side that you were on. I think you're an outlier, because most of us, well, I say most of us, I don't know, but I didn't know anyone who had more than one console. Maybe they perhaps had a Nintendo and a PlayStation, I don't know, but most of us had one console. It was either an Xbox or a PlayStation. A lot of people had a Wii. I've still got the Wii down there. But, I mean, it's not my Wii. It is now. I didn't buy it. It's just like inherited. Wii's just exist in the lounge of a lot of people because so many of them were sold. But a lot of us didn't have multiple gaming consoles. You know, I was lucky enough to have a computer and a friend that gifted me an Xbox to play. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't have a console. I'd probably just have the PS2 and my PC. So I think that's where a lot of my feelings of I just don't care come down to. And I'll be honest, I feel a lot of that in sequels as well. When I was younger, I did not care about sequels because I was always the type of person, I remember playing the Spider-Man game on PS2 and watching the first Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire. And then Spider-Man 2 was coming out and I thought, why do I want to watch that? I've watched Spider-Man. I'm done with Spider-Man. That's how my mind worked, and there's still that residual feeling in my head to this day. And I guess that's why I think of a lot of these remakes, like, why do I care? I've played it. You know, occasionally I admit it, they do grab me like Diablo 2, and I've played that a lot. I'm not saying that I still really play it loads today, but it is a game that I have enjoyed. So I'm not immune to this remaster fanaticism, I guess you could say. But yeah, I remember I watched the Hulk movie, and then they kind of rebooted the Hulk movie a few years later, and I was like, I don't care about this, I've seen the Hulk. And they changed it. I was just like, I'm very resistant to change, and I have always been that way. Perhaps it's an autism thing or what, I'm not diagnosed, I'm just saying that. But that's just the way my mind works, and it saves me a lot of money. And like I said, being a person with not much money, I oftentimes just wait years until games are cheap on Steam. Oh, it's now 60% off. Maybe I'll check that game out finally. You know, maybe I'll check out the Oblivion remake in 5 years and it's reduced. That's just how it goes. Save yourself some money. And I just find, this is just an age thing, but it's harder to be excited about these things. There are very few games in that I actually do get excited about. I do load up, get new games, try them out, and I do have fun, but I don't get really excited about them, which I guess is just age wearing me down. But those are my thoughts on remakes, remasters, and reboots. Thanks for joining the sweat room. Let's flex it out to say the end, and I'll see you in another video. Check out one of these. Thanks for listening.